Let's try that again. All right, that was a fiasco. I think they're doing that to me to force me to buy the paid version of this, and then it would be automated. What happens is I have a second monitor, so just slide over the welcome sign. I slide over my topics, which is this right here. As you can see, if I slide and as you saw what happened, right? Just now. Yeah, it's crazy. So those features used to be free. And I don't know whether, I think people are just simply not signing for the, paid version. I know a couple of YouTubers that they make a lot of money, so they can afford to do that. But as you can see, powered by StreamYard up in the upper right. And then you have, I think that's it. Once you pay for it, that'll be gone. And then you can go ahead and add your own logo and other things that really to me are meaningless. But anyway, welcome. Hope everyone had a wonderful week. It's been rather chilly around this area. I am in the mid-east of the United States in Washington, D.C. area. We've been getting some interesting weather. It's been cool. The heater is now on. It'll come on possibly if it gets a little bit chillier, but I have my heat press to keep me warm right now. So, and we're going to be using that. Now, the channel is moving along slowly. On average, on a regular weekday, we get probably 10 to 12 watch hours of video, which is good. And that gets added. Remember, we have a whole year to do this. And I'll just quickly show you what the numbers are so far. I got to share my screen again, of course. I love it. No, I don't. Share screen, entire screen, of course. And boom. So we are currently at 448 subscribers. Just nothing compared to the almost 79,000 we used to have. And what we need is another 52 subscribers in order to reach a category where, like I said last week, where you will be able to use Super Chat and donate as the live stream is active. So far, that is not allowed. I cannot even apply for that. I do have an active AdSense account through Google. So all I got to do is reach those categories, especially the full one, which requires 1,000 subscribers. So for the first category of just funding during the live stream, I just need 52, and then I can apply. And then I believe subscribership, I would need, oh, that's it. So I would need, how many hours do we have? So let me go ahead and look at analytics. Hold on one sec. Let me look at my analytics here. I have to go on the other screen right there. And like I said, we are almost at 1,500 watch hours, which all we need is to double that now. And we've been able to do that in just over 2 months. So that's not too bad. So this is your daily view rate. As you can see, the views are 5,100 about. Watch time hours, 761. That's only for 28 days. So we need to look at under a different category. That would be 90 days. And we do that here. That way, that'll include all of the time that we have been back on. And so, as you can see, is 1,600-ish hours, 446 subscribers. This is different than what I showed earlier. And the views are 11,800 total. Yep. So moving along, nothing like Mr. Beast, obviously, but, at least we're getting re-recognized. And those who are joining us are a lot more active than those other, 69,000. They really, imagine having 69,000 and I upload a video and I only get 30 views that day. That means that, what's the percentage rate that's not really reacting whatsoever? Yeah. So, people are all freaking out for me about losing all of those subscribers, but in reality, they were just moot. They really didn't mean anything because they weren't really following. Just like here, we get 27. Okay. I look at other live streams and they're getting hundreds. They can't keep up with the chat because they don't even pay attention to it. The broadcaster does not even say hello to the people that are on the chat. So that's not me. I like to keep it small, keep it close, and have interaction between me and those who are taking the time to watch this, which is quite a sacrifice if you ask me. I really appreciate that. So let's begin. As you can see, Nigel Waters, 6:39 my time. Wales, UK, Canon Pro-300 with all the trimmings. Ron K, Trenton, New Jersey, EPSON EcoTank 8550, Qimage Ultimate Lifetime, Canon R5 Mark II, and a Canon 7D. So I'm going to stop right here and just give you guys a little hint. Qimage One comes in two forms, one for Windows, and then the other one finally for Mac. They are a reduced feature version of it. They don't have the myriad of features that Ultimate for Windows has. Okay, be aware of that. However, because of the tendency, and we don't know why, I definitely don't know why, for when you're printing with a Mac, and sometimes you do an update or OS update, and Mac has a tendency to update the complete operating system at once under a different name, usually after California sites. You end up with an issue where there's communication is broken, the driver needs to be replaced, whatever. In Windows, it's not really that critical because Windows 10 was Windows 10 for years. So there was, even though there was an update every once in a while, or whatever, there was no issues, because it seems that Canon and EPSON, they sort of favor one over the other, if you get my drift. So there was always never really any issues with compatibility, nor issues with ICC profiles disappearing, that sort of thing. So if you guys have any kind of, say, a color management issue and you're using a Mac, just contact Mr. Wilford at Qimage One. Go to binartem.com and go to their forum, or he's got an actual email. In fact, he just posted that on my Facebook group, and just contact him. He is a Apple developer, so he works directly with this developmental team. And so since he knows the code, okay, that they utilize, he was able to take Mike Cheney's code for his version, and he created for the finally for Mac users to have something related to Qimage, which everyone was bragging about, and they couldn't use anything like that. So that's why. And any issues, he realizes there are issues, and he fixes bugs and creates updates all the time for his version. So, if you have an issue that you cannot solve, somebody just recently had one, and I couldn't solve it for them because it made no sense to me. So what I was suggesting really did not apply. So I told him, and he actually jumped in, Mr. Wilford jumped in and suggested to contact him. And he did, and problem solved. So again, and it was something, not really a user error, it was something else. So do that. Don't suffer not being able to figure out how to solve something. Contact him. He will get back to you pretty much immediately. And that's about it. Recently, I told you guys last week, and I'll get back to the chat in a sec, about magically reviving my Pro One, then come to the realization that single-use chips are no longer available. Oh my gosh, and I had a heart attack, literally. So what am I going to do? I used to sell those empty cartridge kits, 12 of them, pre-modified. The chip had been carefully removed as to not harm the posts. And I drilled out or milled out a little cavity so that the fatter Chinese chip could fit properly. And I used to sell those as a complete kit already set up for you to just simply insert a chip on it. And those chips are not available anymore. So I have all these cartridges sitting around. They're going to end up, I hate to do this, they're going to end up in the dump, recycled. Do they really recycle something like that? I highly doubt it. But it's going to end up, in the dump. So the idea was to get my Pro One revived again. I got another Pro One that is sort of okay. I need to check it, and maybe I'll check it after this live stream today. And we'll see where that sits. I need to, basically, I could print right now if I wanted to, but I have some cartridges that are just blinking yellow. That means they're going to go empty pretty soon. And I have no way to take care of that. I can refill them. Obviously, I have ink, but no chips. And I thought I had enough of them, but apparently I did not. I didn't have the one of each color, let's just say. Too bad. So I did not talk. I emailed Mike Lee and I said, listen, this is what happened. What's the deal? I saw on PrecisionColors.com that chips for the Pro 1 are no longer, they're out of stock and no longer available. He didn't get back to me, so I used this other email. I used his private email, which is I have. And again, no answer. A few days later, I get a very short reply. Dude, I'm in Tahiti. And I go, oh, wonderful. Enjoying his retirement. I'm telling you, that's good. He's supposed to visit me this fall. Fall is here already, so I haven't really heard. Maybe when they get back, he and his wife were going to take a trip and visit her son, who works for the FDA here for the government, Food and Drug Administration, here in just 14 minutes away from me, actually. So we'll see. I'll let you guys know. And if he comes, we'll do a live stream somewhere that has good Wi-Fi. We'll do a live stream together. So anyway, let's continue on. Fred Elias is here. Warren, Michigan. Ecotech 8550, Red River Paper, OEM inks. Nikon D300, Leica M3, 50mm dual range Summicron, 200mm lens, Visi Flex viewer, home, hobbyist, other goodies too. I bet you do. I bet you do. Kevin Berniarski, Ellsworth, Wisconsin, Canon Pro 300, Ecotech 8550, Qimage Ultimate. Martin van Gogh from the Netherlands, Epson SCP-900, upgraded. Oh, the Nick collection of plugins or filters to the V8. Huge improvement. All right. Let me scroll down here. We're up to 32. That's pretty good for today. Today is Columbus Day weekend, so Monday is actually a day off, which is great. At this point, Nathan has 1 year till high school since he goes to private school. They're very strict. They have to be trained for what high school will be like, and he's got like 8 weeks of this, and it's going to be every Monday, except for this one. I don't have to pick him up. Pretty soon, I won't have to pick him up at all anymore. I'll be seeing a lot less of my awesome, wonderful grandson. He's been my reason for living for the last 13 years. But anyway, for an Nikon 780, greetings from cold 32 Fahrenheit, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Canon Pro 1000, Epson Ecotech 8550, XP 15000, Qimage Ultimate, Photoshop Lightroom Classic, DxO, Photolab 9. OEM inks. I know I don't have to read this for you guys. You can see exactly what I am looking at. Welcome, my friend, always here with us, as well as the other guys. Richard Bender drove from Hagerstown to Monticello yesterday for my second visit to the site. Last one was in 1944. Wow, that's nice. Very good. That's a bit of a drive. James Mark Coffey is here. Canon 200S, Qimage One, and Canon R10 and Capture One. Thank you very much, and welcome back, my friend. HZ, hello and thank you for your perseverance in running these live streams as well as a few weeks ago. I can only join briefly, but usually manage to watch in parts during the week after. Ecotech 8550. I also post, I'm going back. It's not a huge list, but I have some downloaded live streams from previous times See, this happened before, and I was able to I had enough time to react, but not this time. So I was able to download from here when it used to be free, previous live streams just to save them. And I have a couple dozen of those. So I've been posting them every Saturday at noon. And those you can watch whenever you wish. And that really helps with the hours because they're usually, as you know very well, they run 2.5 hours, 3 hours sometimes. So if, say, 10 people watch the whole thing, that's 30. That's 30. No, yeah, that's 30 hours. So that adds to that requirement. I'm almost there. Anyway, once I reach that, I will hit that little dollar button. There's a little dollar button in my channel page, which I can't show you, and then I can reapply for monetization, which is it'll bring a couple $100 every month to the channel that pays for stuff. I'm actually on the hole right now because I did have to buy. I bought some more paper here. And we're going to be talking about the question that other person had about the Pro 1000. So you know me, I have to find out. So comparing the 8550 to the Pro 1000 using the same paper and whatever profiles are available, and then comparing the results. We'll go through that in a little bit. So let's see, who did we have here? My friend, hang on. Did I skip someone? No. So this is Harold Davies from La Crosse, Wisconsin. Canon Pro 1100, 2100 PCSE Qimage, prepping for a shoot at the local with a local model at sunset by the river. I need to come up with a different look for her in our third year together. So I hope to be able to find it. I'm going to show you a picture that I shot, gosh, years ago. And this was a young lady from the institute that I used to work at. And I decided to do a very creamy looking black and white. And this really turned out nice. And of course, she was pretty. So how can you miss, right? Here's Steve from Germantown, still working, still using the R2000, but about to order the 8550. Hey, you can't beat that. The R2000 with the OEM cartridges that you got from me, they produce prints that'll last forever as well. The 8550 apparently also does. And I think I'm the only guy out there that has been showing you guys what the 8550 can do. Paul Mashak, good afternoon from wet, rainy Arizona desert. That doesn't sound correct, right? Desert, rainy. Canon Pro 100, which keeps on spitting out great images. OEM inks and EPSON 8550 Qimage One. Listen, if you ever decide to refill, Precision Colors, Signature Edition, so-called PC 42 SE, actually outperforms quality-wise. I'm not saying it's going to last, give you the longevity, but it visibly outperforms OEM ink. Yeah, that's why years later the Pro 200 came out. They sort of secretly knew this, and they've been working on reformulating those inks, and PC did it in a matter of like a year. So if you consider refilling, just letting you know. Is that earlier? Yeah, that had a little issue. AC is still on here in Arizona. Well, mine's been off for, gosh, a good 2 weeks now. And I had the heat on the other day. Emmanuel from Rouen, Normandy, France. Yucatan 8550, where we're just watching something on YouTube about that region. My wife and I just the other day. And I did tell her that I had a watcher from that same region. It had to do with World War II, of course. Paul Mashak says, QQ, question, whatever. I updated Q1 on my Mac. Seems like my schedule nozzle cleaning pages do not work anymore. Manual Qimage One test print works, just not the schedule weirdness. You got to contact him. Contact him, and he will take care of you. I promise you. Sometimes, and this happens with Qimage Ultimate, they create a new version like the 2026, and it had some bugs, and they had to then create a fix for that. For Nikon 780 says, had Qimage Ultimate issue with 2023 105 crashing after the schedule. Yeah, mine was crashing on its own. Every time it came back on, even if I closed it, every time it came back on, it says, well, you want to start in safe mode or regular mode. That only happens if it crashes. And it did not, it was not crashing. I just, close it. And so he did an update on that as well. To run every second day, I can schedule the tool to run 24 hours later. Qimage still running fine. But after the first, that's weird. You are leaving it on, right? On minimized. We'll reach out to BR10 with this issue. Thank you. Yeah, do so. For Nikon says, time the schedule runs about 10 minutes later. Qimage shut down. Runs and then Qimage shuts down. Mike solved the problem issue. Mike solved the issue in 2026. Great customer service. Yeah. Yeah, it's all about the art or the, well, of programming. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and request the update. Henry Stoffel, Cool Medford, Massachusetts, Epson P800 Qimage Ultimate with OEM inks. Judy Ann says, good morning, and Judy Ann is out west. Hello, my second daughter. Good morning, at Chili One from Washington State, Canon Pro-200. Nice to have you back. Edwin, good, that's a famous name. Edwin, good morning, Pro-300, having printed for 3 weeks. Better set up auto print, a test sheet in Qimage because I'm losing track of time. Yeah, you better. You better. And you don't want to have to end up doing pre-print cleaning cycles just because it feels you haven't printed. So it figures, wait a minute, I want to make sure this print head is nice and clean. So let me run a pretty hefty cleaning cycle. 3 weeks is a long time. Yeah, for Canon printer. Okie doke. So the idea was, because the 8550 has this very unique property that by choosing velvet fine art paper, that is a fine art paper, even though you're printing, say, on one of those, the type of paper that you buy in an art supply store for drawing or for watercolor or for, in this case, it's for acrylic painting. This particular, and you've seen me use it, there's a very thick one, and it is, I wish I could find a thinner version of it so I wouldn't have such an issue feeding it. So that one is a linen type texture. And then I have a new one that I found, canvas paper. I found that because Nathan had been painting on it from school. And he showed me, and I said, hey, that's a nice, and we have a painting upstairs framed, one of his paintings. And I thought I could print on that. I wonder how that would work. So the recommendation through secret underground sources, hey, use velvet fine art paper choice and the profile and print on the 8550. And lo and behold, I was getting denser blacks and not the grayish looking shadow. The region of shadows or the lower density areas look grayish. They didn't have a separation of tones. I usually do a black score on my art prints, and that was not black. And so by using Velvet Fine Art mode on the 8550, for some magical reason, it uses both black inks. That is the transparent dye photo black and the opaque, or let's just say pigment matte, supposed to be denser, ink at the same time. So it will accentuate those areas that needed it. So I tried it, and lo and behold, it works. Then I thought, wait a minute, why don't I go ahead and create a profile for that particular combination? And I did, and it seems to work. Now, is it different than just using the 8550 with the actual Velvet Fine Art profile? Actually, no, it's slightly better. So the Pro 1000 question came up. Hey, why don't you run that thick paper, the linen paper, through the Pro 1000 and see if you get the same results? So I looked at the menu of paper choices. There was nothing that I could choose. In fact, the Pro 1000 does not, there's no combination that you can choose or set that will trigger both blacks. Okay, there just isn't. Now, because the Pro 1000, just like the 8550, it's not sharing a black channel like the P800 and earlier printers from EPSON did. The new ones do not share. They have 10 colors and 10 channels. But that's going back before that. They had to share a channel. So there's no way they can utilize photo black and matte black. But the Pro 1000 can if it was set up to do so. But it is not. So only one or the other. Now, don't get me wrong. Any printer that has two blacks and do not share the same channel, they are using all the time both blacks, just a little tiny bit, in order to keep that channel from clogging. Okay, so if you're printing on glossy paper, it's going to trigger the photo black on the Pro 1000, but it's also going to allow a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of matte black. You will not see the issue on the glossy surface of your paper, but it is indeed using a tiny little bit simply to keep it flowing. The same thing happens when you switch over to a fine art matte media. It will use matte black ink, but also a tiny little bit of the photo black. And in that case, it can probably use a little bit more than just a tiny bit. Now, the weird thing, if you are using printing, on any matte paper, and you figure, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to use the manual feeder, so I'm just going to use the regular photo matte paper choice. That way I can feed it from the top. It will actually allow me to do so. It's going to use photo black. And I think I showed you guys that last week. And yeah, the results were just bleh. Anyway. So then I tried to feed that thick paper through the manual feeder. Rejected it every single time. No way. So I thought, okay, I give up. Then I came across the new canvas paper, and it's thinner. No issues whatsoever. It fits perfectly in the rear feeder because I want to trigger matte black ink. And so I used I think it's 3 P's and then M. So PPPM. So professional photo something, matte. So I got this result, and I am about to repeat the same thing, but using the Pro 1100 equivalent profile. Will there be a difference? We'll have to see. Let's turn this on. And I am going to show you. This is the paper. So this is a lot thinner, but it has a wonderful, wonderful canvas. You can't see it on my camera. Canvas texture to it. It's more actually very realistic looking canvas surface. It looks very, very close to those little canvas boards you can buy for painting, for either oil painting or acrylic. The reason I went to Amazon and ordered a couple more packs of this is because when I was at Michael's, they're trying to get you to go to the self-service mode. And I'm clumsy as hell when it comes to that. So we had the cashier. Now she doesn't work in the back anymore. She works in the front with all of those self-service computers. And she was doing our pile of Halloween stuff that my wife and I were going through. They had a 60% off sale. We're working on a haunted house about yay big right now. So we were buying some accessories. And I bought 2 packs of this. Oh, actually 1 this time. And during the process, and she's messing up and I'm messing up, I threw it in the bag and I kinked the corner. So I got 2 more packs right here, and I got them through Amazon. So I just got to look and see what other sizes they have available, because this is printing really well. And again, no issues with feeding. So I did the 8550, same image, one of my AI images, using Velvet Fine Art mode and the custom ICC profile. This has not been sprayed yet. So it's going to be enhanced a little bit. By that, I mean not the colors, just the densities, the darker densities. This region here, it will be enhanced a little bit, okay? Now, this is the same image, same paper, Pro-1000, and again, PPPM. That's like the highest quality matte paper that is not really an art paper. And then fed through the manual feeder and with the OEM ICC profile for that particular paper. And we got this. So this is the Pro-1000. This is the one through the ICC profile that I created for the 8550. It's using both blacks here. It's using just single black here. And again, a minuscule amount of glossy black. So now what I got to do is repeat the same experiment, but using the 1100 equivalent profile. This is OEM. So I have not gone ahead yet, and I don't think I can make a better profile than the Canon people did with the 1100. So I think using the 1100 is probably about as good as you can get. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I have it already loaded. I got to start up Qimage here. I'll pop it over to the other side. And the trick with using the manual feeder simply is you send the image or the job over to the printer. Then you got to walk over to the printer and tell it, yes, I want you to print. Okay, so it's going to give me a message here that I need to proceed and give it the okay to go ahead and print. So let's go ahead and, oh, and by the way, so here is the profile for the Photo Paper Pro Premium Matte, the 1100 profile. So that should be, I would, guess, about as good a quality as you can possibly get. I don't really think that any profile I create will surpass that. So I'm just going to go ahead and just use that profile, and we'll see what we get. We'll compare it to the other Pro-1000 and see if there's a difference in output, see if there's a difference in the way the darker zones were reproduced or depicted, and then I'll compare it to the 8550. So the 8550 is, of course, our top level with the widest dynamic range I could get, literally, because of the use of the 2 blacks. So that was too warm. Yes. All right. So let that load. 47. Then I'll walk on over there and tell it, yes, go ahead and print. Here we go. So there is the warning. And let me see if I can show you that warning. So this is what it looks like. So I could either cancel or walk over to the printer, make sure that the paper is loaded, and click on the button. That way we'll begin to feed that paper from the manual feeder. And I think that's like one of the last couple of sheets with that kinked corner. Then we'll begin to use the one that I just ordered. I also got me some 8x12 aluminum sublimation material. And I also got this. And it's a really interesting paper. I needed some seamless. Let me go to me here. This was very cheap, super cheap. It's a really good fiber type paper, and almost like not quite like for baking. It's more for other purposes, and it has a really nice even fiber structure to it. So I needed something that was going to exceed 12 inches, because remember I tried to overlap and I got it. I literally got a mark on my sublimation bridge. So this is going to allow me, hopefully, to do 12x12s without any issues, and even an 11x14. Cross your finger. I don't know if I have the nerve to do that today, but I definitely will try it out. And if I succeed, the thing is repeatability. If I can repeat the same thing, in other words, I don't want to flip a roulette table every time I do this. I want to have at least some degree of assurance that we'll get good results without any ghosting. So this allows the complete area to be covered, okay? And that's really what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and cut another piece of this. About like so. And where are my scissors? Don't tell me I took them upstairs. Okay, I'll use the razor blade. Don't get burned. All right, that worked. I wasn't having any issues with 9x12 or 8x12, I'm sorry. But yeah, the issues were always with the larger papers. So I'm going to go ahead and send a job. That one is printing now. It did a little pre-print agitation cycle. I think I printed on it. When was it? Not long ago. So it's beginning to print right away. So hopefully I will not miss it and have it fall on the floor. My tray in the front is broken, so I only have it open. Just the first flap. It's coming out. I can see it. So, all right. So this is what we just printed. As you can see, we'll make the comparison. I'm going to go ahead and move over to the 1400. Right there. You can see the previous sizes that I was working on there. Remove all. We're going to set the border to, what do we need? We need like, we're going to be doing 9x12. Is it 9x12 or 12x12? No. Make sure that I got the right. It is 8 by 12, right? Yes. 8 by 12. And this is a new batch. Actually, no, I still have a bit of the old batch. We'll use these first. And I want to do just one thing, one particular image that I basically played around with using Photoshop 2025 beta. So I wanted to see if they had incorporated that new AI, the Nano Banana, and also another one that's actually better. And sure enough, I couldn't find it in the setup. So I searched a couple of videos and was able to figure out how to do it. So we'll play around with that a little bit later, but I'm going to show you the image that I was able to create. And this was from an actual image that I already had on my computer. Let me go ahead and do the size. So this is going to be 8.1 by 12.1. Not that one. And we're going to make sure we remove the score. We don't want to score. But here it is right here. And it looked like this before. Okay. And I did this through AI. I just simply asked to create a more sunset-like environment, predominantly around the orange color area. And there it is. It's done. Let me get it. Now, the thing about this paper, especially on the 8150, let me get away from this 1 second here, and we'll leave that for a little bit later. So on the 8550, some of the darker tones, they actually look a little bit wet. And you might be able to see a tiny bit of gloss to that, but let's go ahead. So this is the one with the 1100 profile. Okay, let's have a look at the other Pro 1000 version, but with the 1000 Pro 1000 profile. So the Pro 1000 profile one is behind it. So this is 1100 Pro 1000. Let me make sure. Yep. And I don't see a bit of a difference. It's a little bit denser, which is actually a good thing. So I think we found a way to duplicate what we're getting on the 8550. This is the 8550 Pro 1000 in the back. 8550 is still a little bit denser, a little bit better density on that area. So anyway, but you know what else can happen? We can go ahead and let this fully dry. The other two are dry, and just use a good spray coating and proceed to then let them dry and then frame them. The differences are minute, and so really there's no issue with if you begin to split hairs comparing differences. I can buy, here's the key though, I can buy 18 by 24 of that paper, and I can trim it. I can trim 1 inch off of it to make a 17 by 24. Then I can print. I can create all my so-called oil paintings via AI and print them. So let's go here. We have this set up. Each is going to be 8.1 by 12. And I kind of want to just print this one. So I'm going to remove this one. And just so I don't waste paper, I'm going to add, make sure that I'm still on the same size. Yes. And let's see what else we got here. So I did some AI work yesterday. And I'll show you some of the things that you can get away with using that method. Yeah, these are the ones that I made this one yesterday. And that one I am probably going to do at a 12 by 12. So we'll be using the same printer, but let me see what else we can print. I'm looking at the stuff that I recently created. This is a new one, but it's not the correct size. Let me see what happens. I'm going to remove this. And I am going to add maybe this one. It's going to crop it, I believe. Yeah, I cropped it too much. So let me see this one here. We'll do that one. And I'm going to let it run. I'm going to go upstairs and get something, and then I'll be right back. Let that print. So if you have coffee to drink, go ahead and do that. I'll be right back. A couple minutes. Bye-bye. Okay. Did it begin printing yet? Not yet. Okay, so as you have been seeing me do, I was using this kind of glue. I'm running out of it, this bottle. So I had to go buy another bottle. This is unopened. But I also thought, why don't I just try a regular type of adhesive? I'm talking about a solvent type of adhesive, not water-based. And I'm going to give this a try. So this is clear grip. I'm just going to put a very, very thin coating. Basically what I'm doing, as you saw me do last time, was to take one of these pre-cut pieces of cardboard, And then I attach it behind one of these. Oh, there goes my other throwaway sheet of aluminum. Don't fret, it is protected. It still has the coating on it. Let me move away my prints. Don't need them anymore. That's going to begin printing. So I cut one of these out. I make sure the edges are nice and smooth, and I attach one of these to the back. These are a tiny bit smaller. So these represent what would be the MDF that I normally attach to the back of my full-size ones. Here's a small example. So this is one finished. This is the explanation of what takes place. And then each one of these little prints. So you can see this is it's upside down, actually. A shot of a bay, and I think it's in Australia somewhere. I'll take it out and show you. It's got a dark little piece of cardboard, which actually makes it look a little bit more artsy. And then here it is. So it's a shot of a city. I know it looks blurry, but that's just our situation here. And again, it does get full of fingerprints. So before I hand this to anyone to buy, it's going to get treated so that, you know, no fingerprints or marks. Okay, so then this will be inserted into the little bag so that if you flip it over, you can read the what is sublimation onto aluminum, and then the actual little piece. And according to the people at the show that I just attended a couple of weeks ago, actually like a week ago, these will sell like hotcakes. But the art ones will sell even more. So we're going to be concentrating on those. And as you saw me earlier, I did these here, and I have a stack of them here. I got these that have not been cut yet. I got the 2x2 equivalent right here. They came out beautiful. And so I want to be able to have at least probably a couple hundred prints ready to be sold. Now, the ones done on paper, that's going to be treated differently. So the ones done on paper, let me move this over out of my way here, will be framed in wood. And these are two versions here. And in the back, I'm using basically antique paper. It has a little wooden frame around the back. You can see that. And then on the corners of each miter, tiny little piece of veneer. So that represents in 12 scale, that would represent some sort of crisscross on the corner to help it, to make it stronger. And then there's a label here. Let me turn this off, too bright. There you go. You can see a label attached with the documentation on it. But so this, after discussion with some of the vendors, they said, oh, easily $75. I go, wow, maybe I can drop it down to 60 and sell those to people. Now, I would probably add, like I did here with this version, here, you would basically, I don't know, I haven't added it to it yet, but this is what I wanted to add. Sorry. You see that little hanger right here. Okay, and again, that antique paper. It's all yellowed and it looks ancient, and it is. It's like maybe 60 years old. And so that is this print right here. Okay, so this is what I plan to do with all those little mini prints, especially the ones done on paper will end up getting framed, and the ones that are on metal will not. So I have the 2x2s, and then I have the 2x3s. So these will probably go for, and this is what they were telling me, 45, 75 ish, around there. So um, imagine I just sell 10 of them. That's $750, and nothing to sneeze at. And you have a great time while you're there. And I happen to have many. There's actually more in here that I didn't get out. But yeah. So I'm getting my inventory ready to go. I think that's almost done printing, and I better do this so that it does not fall on my floor. There we go. These are the same, but metal. So these have a border on them, and I'm thinking about always putting a border on the metal ones. It gives it like something that brings it in other words. Even though I like borderless in some cases, it doesn't really work for this. So, and then the little packs, I need to print more explanations what sublimation is, have all of that prepped and cut off so that I can proceed putting together sets. And of course, having the proper images for a particular type of print is very important. So, I'm not going to have a shot of a space satellite in the heavens on a piece of canvas. No. So that's not going to work. That would be, something for a metal print. Okay. So, like I was saying, the reason this is a little dangerous to use, and it has weird fumes that they can affect the surface of the sublimation aluminum. And if you try to remove it by using acetone, you're literally going to remove the actual print. The image is going to come off literally. So you don't want to do that. Let me make sure these are okay. Put them over there. All right, so let's go ahead and proceed to hopefully make a good print of that beautiful shot of the bay. Peel the back off, the plastic coating that is. And these come off. I wonder how the new stuff is going to come off. Is it going to be as easy as this was? Don't know. Just don't know. The stuff that I bought, this stuff with the rounded corners, that came from eBay, from a source on eBay. It wasn't as cheap as this, money-wise. Let's go ahead and trim. let's do this one first. Now let me warm it up a little bit, make sure that it is completely dry. We don't want to have any problems. I'm going to go ahead and preheat those 2 sheets of material. And as expected, this so-called 8 by 12 inch is not really 8 by 12. So I could get away with printing 8 by 8. And I don't really need to worry about a bleed. Okay. All right. Let's still removing all the moisture from those 2 sheets of this material that I showed you. I want to make sure that everything is bone dry before beginning. I think I will go ahead and prepare a 12 by 12 next. We're going to try it. Let's try it live and see what happens. Okie doke. Let's do this. Bring it like this. Lift the first sheet. Lay this down. This is going to put the bleed on the bottom sheet, but the top sheet is always going to protect it. And press. Okay, so we are done with that. That is cooking, and while that is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and set this up. So we remove everything, and we're going to switch over to the, actually stay with it, but I'm going to do a 12 by 12. So, and do I have to do 12.1 by 12.1? I'm not sure. I'll do that anyway, just in case. But I don't think you have to. Okay, so that's that. We don't need that. We're going to use one of the new ones that we made today, or yesterday, actually. Just a piece of art. So this is going to be, I don't know, this one or this one or this one. Oh, I like that one. Yeah, we'll do that one. Hang on. Remove that. Actually, that previous one that I just deleted or removed looks good as a canvas. This will be good for a 12 by 12 on that Strathmore paper. Nice. We're printing this for sublimation, so we have to stick to the actual setup that we have. So 1400 sublimation aluminum profile. You can see what happened. This is going to need a little bit of work. So let me go ahead and come back to me for a second here. So this is what happens with the bleed, and this is why we need 2 sheets of protective paper. Now I can go ahead and reuse this. Just make sure it is facing upward. And I put the other sheet on top, and that will not allow that to pass through the platen. So I don't have to waste another sheet of this paper. I can just leave this on the bottom here. And the next print that we make, which should be the 12 by 12, should be okay. Let this cool off a little bit more. Yikes. Okay, so on this other image, I'm going to go ahead and do what I normally do. You know what that is. Exposure. And then we're going to, maybe I will even increase the saturation a little bit. That's good. That looks really good. And sharpness 1 and 120. Yeah. Okay, this is now nice. This will be very nice. And we'll go ahead and let it reload. And I'm going to just test to see, you know, what happens. Remember, we were getting sort of strange results with 12 by 12. Okay, so let's go ahead and come to me. Before I even look at my result, I want to make sure that the sheet transfer about 90% and it's even. We want to see absolutely even transfer. Okay. In the original image, there was a lot of texture in the water, and this turned it into something kind of dreamy looking. Let's go ahead and turn our magic light on here. That came out gorgeous. And that little spot you see here, it's actually a little boat. This is not AI. This is the effect is AI generated, but it's an actual photograph. Okay. As to where, I have no idea. I got this from someone else. But that came out beautiful. There's still a little tinge of blue on that sky here because I told it not to do it. Absolutely turn everything orange. I love it. You can see detail here. It makes it all appear dreamy and like out of this world. I can't get over it. Wow. Okay. Another success. That's good. I love it when things work out. Otherwise, yeah, it can be a real pain. Let me get a sheet of the 12 by 12. So this is going to be the test. I hope that simply having, oh, I need a sheet of paper, don't I? I sure do, silly boy. Oh, I turned it off. What an idiot. Should press the other button. good. I thought I was going to have to send it again. That I would not want to do. So as you can see, at this point in our sublimation adventure, things seem to be working out okay. So far. Yeah. I'm not going to do this one today. I'll do this some other time. So this is going to print. I think that's really, we don't need to be on Qimage any longer. That will print. It's going to be actually very striking, I hope. And I'll be able to mount this. I have some 10 by 12 wood that I can apply to the back. Actually, no, it's not. It's larger than that. No, that's not going to work. This would be for 11 by 14. Do I have square material? Yes, I do. But it is. It's actually this right here. Yeah, that'll work. And we're going to test this new glue. We'll see what happens with that little experiment. We're happily printing over there. So if I get into this miniature print situation and it is a success, as I am hoping it will be, because what was available was garbage. And I don't mean to be mean about it. It was just absolute garbage. And I think this is like way above the norm. So here's the glue. And let me read the instructions to see if you have to do something specific. Apply adhesive to each surface to be bonded. Tip: push product toward the nozzle, squeezing the crimp, maximum bond strength. Wait approximately 2 minutes for the adhesive to partially dry before joining surfaces. Okay, so a little bit. I'm going to apply to the wood, apply to the back, and then remove it, and wait a couple of minutes, and then reapply. And then cross fingers. This should be a little bit safer for me. Last thing I want is have my fingers stuck together with crazy glue. That, those of you who know, that is not fun. Most definitely. Okay, so now it's just a matter of waiting. So I could be making, for instance, some paper prints of that, some art prints. We could do that on the 8550. And again, I could be saving these settings. There's no need for me to be doing it every single time. So we're going to do a 2x2. This is going to be 9 by 12, but let me think of the heavy stuff. this is done. I'm just going to let this sit here and dry. I'll just add the aluminum right to it directly. Make sure you got the right surface. So 9 by 12. 9 by 12. And I am going to change this to 2 by 2. 2 by 2. Okay. And we'll begin to add 1, 2, we'll do 6 of each. I know there's a quicker way of doing this. I'm going to have to ask Mike to teach me. And then 6 of these ones. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I have anything else I could just add just to take up the space? I got room for 2 more. See, this is what I mean. I would not want to do that on art paper or this. This is modern looking, and that would be best for sublimation aluminum. The same thing with this dinosaur. No, that does not work. These are rectangular 2 by 3s. So are these. Now I have a friend at the club who would literally is going to go nuts for this. So that's why I thought I would go ahead and make her a aluminum print as well as an art print. Well, I'm just going to go ahead. Well, let's just add, let's see, one of these. This is all new stuff that I made. So we'll do this one and we'll do this one. It's a shot of a cabin up in the mountains. Okie doke. So let's go ahead and hit print. And OK. Velvet Fine Art, 8550, Strathmore canvas. Oh, I need to choose my profile for it, not Strathmore canvas. That's a different type of paper. So let's go ahead and browse. And we'll click on Strathmore. Strathmore. And then we want the linen one. And I set it for thick material since that's all I really have been doing here on the 8550 lately. So let's see. Let that baby load first, and then while it's loading, I'll go ahead and set it up. It's going to, again, ask me, continue printing. You want to continue printing? Click this button. That's the way these modes seem to work. worry a little bit about bending this very thin material while I am removing this very stubborn protective coat. We are at 52, so I have time to load this and tape it. Now you have to remember that no matter what material you're printing on, sometimes there's a little bit of expansion, especially something made out of paper fibers, basically wood fibers. It gets wet, so it expands a tiny bit. Let me go back to me so you can see what the heck I'm doing here. So I am taping down the corners of this rather larger than normal print. So now that's going to require my help. It has to open up the window here in the front, the tray. Wait for it to do that. It's saying print. So yes, I want to print. This is good the way it is right now. Wait for this. Cross fingers. Okay, that seemed to work better. Setting up the thick media setting in the driver. Okay, so we're going to flip this over. Make sure that I have it centered. I want it as centered as possible. I want it to get the best possible contact with my plating. So I'm doing that visually. If I bring it down, yeah, I think I am good. Lay my sheet on top. I added a little bit more pressure to it. I just want to make sure that the whole surface is receiving approximately the same amount of pressure. That's critical. In these, this is like $300, okay, and that's considered cheap, by the way. If you see something for $120 on eBay, forget about it. Don't buy it. It's garbage, okay. Not only is very uneven as far as angles and as far as the temperature distribution is, you're going to have to spend some bucks and get a high quality. I recommend, and I'm not an affiliate, heatpressnation.com. Heatpressnation, one word, .com. And then this is going to go. Do I have a board? Yes, I do. Oh, lucky me. So we have one of these I'm going to attach to the back of this. But first, we got to get good results. All right, so I think I'm good now with Qimage. I'm going to go ahead and show you, once we get done with this, I'm going to show you what's available now in Photoshop. And you got to get the beta version. Wow, it came right off before I could even lift it. And I'm so happy. I don't even have to look at the actual one. I know that's going to be good simply by looking at this. I should have put more tape. Tomorrow's a federal holiday, so no trash pickup. But I got to really get this out of here today and replace it. Ow, that's hot. Whew. No. Too hot to handle. Let that sit there for a minute. All right. And again, look at that. That is printing beautifully. Thick paper mode. It seemed to solve the issue. So that's awesome. Let's go ahead and open up Photoshop Beta. Let that load. I don't know what's happening upstairs, but I think my wife and Jeremy, our son, I think he was coming over to go to Hallmark. They're both big fans of Hallmarks, so they belong to one of their clubs or whatever, and they collect the ornaments. And especially my son, he is well, I don't want to say it, but he has, get ready, 6 Christmas trees, 6-footers. And guess what he has on them? Hallmark. It's worth a lot of money, I'm quite sure. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Tell you what, I'm going to be mean and show you these first. So I forgot what the category that I used, but this is a good abstract. And then this would be a mountain in the fall view with a cabin. And I specifically asked for a cabin, and there it is. So this being more realistic, I think would probably work best with aluminum. So since this came out so well, why don't I print one of those? Why not, Jose? Yes, let's do that. And then I'll do a quick review, although I'm still learning. So I'm going to probably very likely make mistakes. The new modes that are available in Photoshop. And I already have it on, so maybe I'll do that first. Yeah, let's do that. Of course, you have the same options as you did in the past with regular Photoshop. You can create a blank document and then just do the fill, whatever you wish to fill it with. So let's go ahead and do, sorry. Let's go ahead and do new file. We'll do, over here we have 9 by 12, 300 ppi. So we'll leave it as such. And here's your generative fill. But we're not going to do that. We'll do a quick one. Let's do this motorcycle. It's going to use this description as a way to generate. Now, this will be good for men, okay, for a bar. For young teenage girls, maybe this one. And so it says neon dog with sunglasses and a mohawk with a scarf and heart tied to the neck, poster print postcard. So here you can choose either a photographic reality type result or art. We'll do art. So it's going to generate 3 of them. That. Or, let me see. Where's the third one? I don't see it. But anyway, so there you go. So this is now able to be printed. If you don't like it, just generate again. Now I'm using credits to be able to do this. So it's costing me like $0.25 each. There you go. That's another one. So now I have this many choices. You see what I mean? So, all right. So let's go ahead and not do that. I'm going to go ahead and just load an image. So don't save it. And this is my grandson's little dog. But being a Westie, he's got hair all over his eyes. So let's go ahead and choose the brush tool. I'm going to go ahead and reduce it because all I want to do is create a mask right about there like that. And right about here. And I'm just going to tell it, generate. And I'm going to set remove hair. And that's it. Now, here's the key. Oh, did I spell it? Not hair. Hair. Silly. Okay. I think that's correct. Yeah. So here's the key. So right here, there's new modes. Gemini, which is Nano Banana, and Flux. Flux is really the best. It's superior to Nano Banana. So I'm going to go ahead and generate. It only gives you one fix. So it should be able to remove those hairs that are covering his little eyes constantly. I don't know how he sees. And it did not. Okay, let's try that again. I should have worded it better, maybe. Remove. I didn't say where. Hair on eyes. Wait a minute. Remove the hair. You have to be really descriptive on the dog's eyes. That should work. There you go. Now, whether that is what you're looking for, this is before, after. Let's see what he looks like now. His name is Max. Actually, he looks pretty good. He does have one eye bigger than the other, actually, in real life. So yeah, now you would just simply flatten this and then save it. So another, and the reason I'm doing this, you might say, well, you can do that with many other types of tools. Sure. But that's how I was able to take this and transform it into that other, this one here. So let's go ahead and go. Let me find, I need to find an image that I have. I thought it was here. Oh, here's the, oh, here we go. This is the one that I was telling you about when you're talking about photographing a model. So this is the one that I did. And if you look closely, it's very creamy looking. Oh, I don't want to do that. There you go. You can see that just the overall, there's no grain at all. And this was actually digital. And I think I did this with my old Nikon, like a D70, the one that I loaned to Nathan. And you can look at the histogram, pretty much complete. So good tonality, and it just prints beautifully, especially on a very smooth paper, like a matte smooth paper. So yeah, that's just one of my old ones. Now, so I thought, gosh, this is so freaking bright. Let's go ahead and increase my brush size. And I'm going to just brush the whole thing selected. And generate, change flower color to yellow. Okay, and generate. We'll see what we get. I still got to show you the aluminum print. All right, there we go. So now the background's a little bit green, but overall, it did the job. And it did it without having to recreate the flower. With the normal AI, it does attempt that in some cases, so you got to be careful. So I will go ahead and adjust my tonality here, my opaqueness, and you can see I could have orange, yellow. Actually, that's like a yellow green. So this is more, rather than that is ridiculous. Something like that. So I just did that by adjusting the opacity between the two layers. I can then just go ahead and click and save. Right click, merge, or flatten. like so. And I can either use, let me see here, use my dodge tool, my burn in, and tell it to do shadows, and just do the shadows right there. So now that is a different color flower than it was. And it's beautifully, the colors were applied beautifully. So I would do this type of procedure without, cheating too much. In other words, I don't want to make something appear where it isn't. That's not what I would do. So here's one that I made recently. And that is an AI boat. So looks pretty good though. It really does. Let me see if I have, I'm going to open, let's go into my photos drive, like so. And let me see what we can find. I'm not going to look at any other folders. I'm just going to look at stuff that's in the loose stuff, in other words. Like, for example, so yeah, there's an orange here. I want to go ahead and find something that I can then change the color on and have it do it, pretty much seamlessly. Actually, no. I have something on my desktop and I thought I had it here. It's a shot my friend took showing 3 horses. Here it is right here. So we'll open that. And there we go. Now, let's go ahead, see how well we can do this. I want to change the color of that horse, but I want to make him look natural. I want to make him look, correct. So I'm going to reduce my brush size. I'm going to increase the hardness of the brush a tiny bit, like right about there. And I'm going to go ahead and brush him out. Make sure that I don't get the other horse. I don't want to get the shadow either. Okay, so now we're going to turn him into a palomino. Convert this horse into a palomino. Did I spell that right? Of course not. Oh, I did. I think I did. Hang on. Palomino. I think I need an I. Palomino. Oh, not a 2, an I. Why do I keep typing in 2? Palomino. Okay. Okay, generate. This is going to be a little difficult because it cannot change the horse at all. If I use regular AI, it will give me just another horse. It will find a Palomino horse and somehow, there we go. Okay, so let's see what happens. Is that a Palomino? I don't know if that's a Palomino or not, but let's look at this. Oh, it did change them. So am I using, let's see what mode am I using here? Oh, it's using that one. That's supposed to be the best. Maybe if I just say change the color. So you can see this stuff is not absolutely perfect, but it does a really good job. I did a version of this with a stormy sky. That really turned out great. But I deleted it. So I can repeat the process again and show you guys. How about a black horse? Change. Maybe I have to say skin. The skin color to a black shade. I want to be able to get to something that looks natural. So in this case, of course, the three horses are the same breed, but I want to change the breed of one of them. Okay, so that is a little too black, but it's black. Now I want to check to see if it changed the horse. No, it did not. You see that? It's the same horse. That's pretty good. Not bad. Not bad. So let's just pick white. Let's see what it does now. I'm hoping I don't have to redo the selection, but we'll see. We'll turn it into, there you go. So now let's see how real this looks. In this case, it put the horse in front of the branches that are there. But you can see the outline of the horse as I go back and forth does not change, simply the color of the horse. So, you know, if I save this, you know, will people believe me? Who knows? Let's go ahead and take this down. I'm going to go ahead and increase the size of my brush, and I will go ahead and just cover that up with a mask and create a sunset sky. Wait a minute, what happened to my contextual? There it is. It hides. Create a sunset sky. I should have selected the mountains. Anyway, you get the idea. So this is going to be a lot of fun experimenting and especially creating more images that I can then go ahead and print. We'll go ahead and open up Qimage and do that last one. And while that is printing, I'll show you the one we just got done creating. Harold Davies has a photo. First of all, Photo Nikon says thumbs up button. Please do so. Oh, as you're watching the videos that I am uploading daily, and I also then create a link or a share to my Facebook group, people are thanking me and liking, but on my Facebook group, that doesn't do me any good. Makes me feel good, of course. But as far as getting more exposure on the channel, that doesn't do squat. You have to do the like in the actual video. So you're looking at the video, even though you clicked on it through Facebook, you're watching it now on YouTube, and make sure you like it there inside YouTube. That way YouTube goes, oh, ding, another like for Jose's video. See, that's how it works. I know it's crazy. Yeah, that day you saw no sun. It's either the best results, cloudy, just overcast day. And that seems to work. Gives you a very creamy look. Your shadows are always full and visible. There's no contrast, high contrast shadows on the faces. No, I always shot, when I did shots like that, in overcast days. Thank you, by the way, for that. I'm glad you liked it. So let's go back to the 1400. So I got a piece of paper waiting for me. Got the right size. Let me see now. Yeah, we're going to do the same size. Let's get brave here. Let me go down to my cabin shots. I think I did those at the very bottom here. Sorry about that. There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. Let's scroll up. Here we go. So I think, which is the one we liked? This one? Was it that one or the other one? That one is a slightly larger cabin. That one? Or no, not that one. So I'm going to go ahead and make one on a, there we go. That will look striking on aluminum. So we'll do that. Double click on it. Do our normal setup, our normal exposure. You can see that sky is going to, that sky was not, well, it's a little overdone AI, but we'll accept it. I always tell people this is not real. This is generated art. And hopefully it'll become a popular way to enjoy. Make that a little bit more saturated. Just give it a tiny bit of pop here and there, like so. Yeah, that looks good. Hit OK. Accept. It will reload the edited image now. And print. Make sure everything is correct. Yep. And OK. All right. Now let's take a look at our result that we just did. This was cool because it's got like about five little generated little figures right there. You can see it right here. And again, their purpose, there's nothing real about this. Okay, nothing realistic about this. But you can see how beautiful that came out. So let's move this out of the way. I'm going to get my sheet of felt. We'll lay this down. I wish I had an overhead camera so you can see what I'm doing. But basically, I have a sheet of felt right here. Lay it down on my little side desk here. Lay this down in the correct orientation. This is up, this is down. So down like that you go. And I'm going to go ahead and try to find the center point. And for that, I will need my long ruler, which, what did I do with it? See, I always try to keep things here, but quite often that doesn't occur. So let's see if we can use one of our gauges here. This is my 12 by 12 gauge. And I'm eyeballing this, and it seems to, yeah, this is perfect. Wow, amazing. Just amazing. You just heard that? It's beginning to print. Okay, so I'm going to make little marks with my marker on each corner. Like so. Okay, now I know where to lay down some glue. And this is very gooey glue. It's very almost like airplane glue. Remember the model airplanes we used to build, and some of you still do, I'm quite sure. So I'm going to apply some glue to this board as well. Not as easy to apply. It's sort of floating, as you can see. Okay, that's good enough. So we just want to apply it to the surface and then pull it off. And then I'll wait a minute or so. And just simply use my marks that I created. Okay, this dries pretty quickly, so I'm going to go ahead and put it down now. Press. And that's it. Oh, here's my my big ruler. So we got to find a center line on that mount. This one. I already have it marked. Let me mark it again. Find the center line on the board. Like so. And this time I'm just going to use my regular crazy glue. I'm simply more used to using this. This is a less dangerous piece of material. So I'm going to go ahead and just simply apply. It's easier to apply as well. Okay, like so. Maybe trim off some of the excess. Let this dry a little bit. With the help of the heat press, get another sheet of the 12x12. And now that this seems to be working okay with the larger paper, I'm going to have to buy some more 12x12. This is one of the ones that I'm going to be selling as a miniature 2x2 inch. So the scale size would have been 2 feet by 2 feet or 24 by 24. You know, who has a heat press with that capacity? I certainly don't. Okay, so here we go. This is done. All I need to do is add the little buttons here for floating. And that is finito. Okay. The next test would be an 11 by 14 that is evenly distributed. That's something that I have not been able to accomplish like 100% of the time. There's always been a little bit off here and there. So if all it was the ability to cover with a sheet of this fiber type paper, then I'm very glad that's all it is. So, but who knows? Okay. So I'm trying to come up with images that will appeal to the masses out there. Okay, so this new 12 by 12, this image came out too small. So I'm gonna have to reprint it. I cannot use it. Oh well. C'est la vie. So let's go ahead and create a new one. Obviously, that aluminum is a little bit larger than supposed to, according to the descriptions, was supposed to have been. So, oh well. You know what? That's the name of the game. So we just go ahead and repeat the whole process again, but just make sure it's a little bit larger. Let me see what happened. Maybe it was my mistake. You know, it's always my mistake anyway. More. Yeah. Okay, so 12.1. By 19, 13 by 19, 12.1 by 12.1 by 12.1. Okay, that is it. I gotta find it. And I think we were using this one. I don't want two of them. Yeah, that's the one we were using. Tell you what, just to make sure. 1.5 by 1.5. Okay. Remove the one we don't need and keep the one we need. I'll double check again. Double check, double check, double check, double check, and then double check again. Okay. And that is the one. And that should fit. So if you guys get into this and you're buying your materials through different vendors on Amazon or eBay, be aware that what you're going to be getting is not going to necessarily match traditional sizes like 12 by 12, 8 by 12, 8 by 10, that sort of thing. It's always going to be more on the oriented toward metric. So this is supposed to have been a little bit smaller than actual 12 by 12 inches. Now, one thing that I did notice, obviously, ouch. So let's go ahead and use our file, remove some of that burr. This occurs when the material is cut off by like a shearing type machine. So this is coming out of a roll, literally. In this case, it would be a 12-inch wide roll, and it comes out of there, and every 12 inches, the sheet gets sheared off. And so this opposite edge should also require, yeah, and it does. Now, had this been Chromalox, it would have been almost like a 1/16 of an inch thick. You literally see the edge. That's a square edge. And nothing sharp, nothing that needs to be trimmed or treated to prevent, somebody handling this to get cut. Okay, so that's going to go and get printed now. We'll do this last job. This will be the last test that we'll do for the day. This is attached pretty well. The last thing you want is for any of this to come off while it's hanging. It'll destroy the print for sure. I really like this particular one with the little people. Yeah, that looks really neat. It adds a little bit of magic to it. So it's like a magical place that you go to, have fun, and then come back to reality. Yeah, this is great. It's seldom that I come up with something that I end up liking. Here's another smudge. So you got to have, like, either wash your hands really well and then wipe them with alcohol. And before you start touching your prints. Really neat. I like the vertical strokes here, so like a fake brush. Everything is, drawn with wide brushes. Actually, I'm going to do this. Let's do this on a 12 by 12. Yeah, let's do that. 12 by 12, the heavy duty paper. We're on a roll. Might as well. Yeah. Get the right size. The last thing you want to do is feed this incorrectly. All right, so that's already printing. So I am going to go ahead and just load the new printer, 8550. Come on, there you go. 8550 with a 12 by 12. And then take that off. We're going to give it a border of, say, 1 inch. That should be enough. No, I gotta uncheck that. Otherwise, it'll just keep loading it. And then we gotta find. So what was it we just did? That, yeah, that beautiful fantasy one. That one with the little people walking in there. That's the one. No, where are my little people? That's not it. It's got to be the other one. That's the one. That is so awesome. But we need something. We're gonna need a stroke for black. Boom. And so now, make sure we got everything correct. Linen, that's the correct setting. ICC profile, that is. And yeah, I think I already did the post. Yeah, everything is set. Okay. Let's print this bad boy. And then let me get a frame. Oh, this is going to deserve a frame. Now these come with a mat that is a 10 by 10, no 8 by 8 mat. I don't want that. I'm going to take that off. I don't want to lay that on top of that. But I am going to save the mat. I'm going to put it behind, lay down the print, and then this on top. All of this on top. The mat can be used at a later date. You're done? This is going to turn on. Did it go ding dong? Oh, it's asking. Oh, I keep forgetting. Yes, print in thick mode. Yes. Sorry. There you go. That is something I'm going to have to remember now from now on. Okay. We are on a roll now. This has got to dry a little bit. Make sure that I did peel this off, didn't I? Yes, I did. So this is ready to roll. Unfortunately, I don't have another one of those little 4x4 mounts, but I have some new 3x3, a little bit smaller. I don't think I need the 4x4 constantly. So let's attach this with tape. It should fit now with a bleed. That was the issue earlier. And indeed it does. See that? All it takes is a little bit extra size. Boom. Perfect. This time I'm going to attach it a little bit more secure. That did not go in there well. Make sure your tape is nice and flat. You don't want to have any kind of little bump. you want the contact between the press heating plate, the plate, and the bottom where this is going to lay to be as flat as possible. You don't want to have any bumps, anything that will distort the contact between the two. So I'm putting some in the corners as well. At least one of the corners, two of the corners. Like so. This is good enough. Okay, here we go. Lay this down, facing down. Now, one thing I'm glad is this aluminum does not sublimate in the back. I think it does not. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Let me bring it more to the front a little bit. Center it. And is that okay? Yeah, that's good. Move this out of the way. All right, we did 2.5 hours so far, so doing good, doing good. You know, sometimes when you're generating AI, such as what I'm printing now, you get those three choices and you can generate again. You can change the terminology that you use, the descriptive term you use, and it will change sort of, it will allow it to navigate through what you think you mean, you know, and try to please you by generating images that depict what you're saying. And sometimes you hit it out of the park. That one I love. That the other two are, but that one I absolutely just love. My goodness. And so that deserves to also be printed on the art paper. And I'm going to go ahead and sign that as well, because we're going to go ahead and frame it now. I normally would take it outside later and spray it, but I'm just going to go ahead and frame it. We'll see what it looks like. We'll see what it looks like framed up. So. And that is now done. This is done printing as well. So you can see all of the transfers. Once that gets full of bleeds, then it's you know, it's not worth saving it any longer. So let that sit. This is done. Looks fantastic. I love it. While that is cooling down, I'm going to go ahead. What should we call this? I got to come up with a name later. I'm not going to do that just yet. But what should we call this? What do you think a good name for this? And it's got to be something unique. I'm terrible at this. I'm terrible at coming up with ideas and things like that. What would you call something like this? And then I'm just going to put my name and the date. But I'm going to call it, give it a title, then AI, and sign JFR and the year or the day it was printed today. Seems to be pretty even. So I'm really satisfied. I think now I know what the issue was. Can I get away with an 11 by 14? That's calling it, I mean, the platen is 15 by 15, sort of. Metric. So I don't know if it can generate even enough temperature across the board to handle a 11 by 14. I got away with it once, but I end up sometimes having to trim off. In other words, mechanically crop it, if you get what I mean. All right. So, oh my God, this has sharp edges. So that came out pretty nice. Unfortunately, I don't have any more of those little boards prepped. Oh, it's sticking to my gloves. In order for me to not have to do this, let's just say this costs about, I would say, 10 sheets for like $25. So, $250 each. The price would be maybe 10 times that much. And since I am not selling any of this yet, there's no way that I can justify buying that luxurious, that's why it's called Chroma Luxe, L-U-X-E, Luxe. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. If I redo this into, say, if I had a bigger press on something like 12 by 16, then I will just do a generative expand and just put this here and then just expand like that much, 4 inches, and it will generate whatever it needs to generate automatically for you. I've done it in the past and it really does work. Okay, let's do this. No suggestions? What I like about doing the paper prints and just simply framing them is quick. There's literally no effort. You get this. And yeah. Any of you could be doing this if you own Photoshop, subscribe to it or whatever, or you have any others AI source of image generation. You can do this, or simply with your own actual photographs, except there's no way that I can come up with something like this by going out in the woods. Nathan's woods. He's got vast woods out there, and I cannot come up with that. You know, A Glimpse into Eternity. That's a good one. That's a good one, definitely. Let me go ahead and prep this, and I hope I don't mess it up because it's almost time to go. So I am going to make sure that I don't use the same exact slideshow that I used earlier. That was the abstract one. Yeah, we'll use this one. Stop it. It's too bad that I got to go through this. Like I said, a real pain. And then thank you. And this is your chance, folks. Ask away anything that you have on your mind right now. I'm going to go ahead and use that, A Glimpse into Eternity. But you have me here, so, you have any issues, don't wait until we're done and then you remember something. What do you think? What do you think it costs you to make sublimation prints? I can tell you instantly. So the press was about $350. I didn't pay for it. That was purchased for me as a gift by a viewer. He was from the Middle East, a doctor, and he ordered it directly from Heat Press Nation, and it came directly here. The reason being, I was using a cheap Chinese eBay version with multiple accessories but garbage, and the power supply immediately burnt out within a matter of a month. These are the sublimation videos that I used to have on my old channel, but I think I'm a lot better at it today, so don't worry, you don't have to watch those old ones that I just cringe when I, occasionally I would sit back and watch some of my old videos. Yeah, no. So those were, I'm glad that in a way I had to repeat myself and do this over again. So this will be good. So we'll begin. And now that I do this pretty much repeatedly, regular results, and not too many weird results at the end. Anyway, so the $350 for the heat press, that's minimum. If I go to a 16 by 20, then I'm going to probably double that price. And it's going to have more adjustments, such as actual pressure adjustments, where you know what the pressure per square inch is. More accuracy for the plating temperature, but it's still going to fluctuate. There's nothing perfect out there. So then you have the inks. You have a printer. The best printer to dedicate is an EcoTank 8550. They have sublimation inks for it. From the beginning, loaded up with the sublimation inks. That'll set you up when on sale about $550, $600 maybe. Depends. So let's just say $400 for the heat press, $650 for the printer. So you're talking almost $1,000, $1,100 right there to start with. And then that's basically it. Then is the consumables. So the inks will cost you maybe 50 cents, I wish, $50 for a set of bottles for the EcoTank 8550. And you use that as often as I had to use my regular inks, which is hardly ever, so they will last you. You need to print often. Sublimation inks are not as forgiving as regular inks are. So then after that, you need material. So the A-sub paper that I use strictly A-sub paper. And if I was to go with the 8550, I would use the hold on. HIPPO. HIPPO, HIPPOO. Like poo, go to the, HIPPO. And seems to be good. Precision Colors did have sublimation inks for something like a R3000. Yeah, a 9-color printer. I've used them in the past, but HIPPO seems to be what everyone is using. So that will set you back, like I said, like $50, $60 for a set for the EcoTank. If you're never going to print anything larger than like a 8.5 by 11, that size, 8 by 10 ish, then you can get away with a 5500 instead of the 5550. I mean the 8550 instead, the 8500 instead of the 8550. So I'm trying to say, no, 8500. Yeah. So that's a smaller version, and again, you're just not going to be printing larger than that. Then just get a smaller heat press like mine for $350. Paper will run you on. I have it on my affiliate page on Amazon. 8.5 by 11 is cheaper than photo paper. I use both 11 by 17 and 13 by 19. And again, it's cheaper than photo paper. And it'll come like 50 sheets. So that's basically it. Ink, paper cost. Are you going to be mounting your images? Then, you come, like for instance, this is not sublimation, but had this been sublimation, it would cost me, say, $3 for the material, for the aluminum, 50 cents to print. So that's $3.50. And you gotta, figure out the cost of the press and how much does it cost you per day. I couldn't come up with that, but you see what I mean. And so you're talking about, maybe $6 for the frame on Amazon. So maximum $10 for this. And I would sell this for $50. Period. No one has this image. Okay. So that's what 10 cost, $50 sale, $40 profit. Aluminum, again, even if you're using Chromalox, even if it's $10 a sheet, printing costs you $1, so that's 11. Is your time valuable? You have to add your time too, you see. So it depends how you want to, figure this out. I'm down here anyway, so to me, like, my time is free, so I don't charge myself for time. But I have to bring, figure that out and add it to the what would have been the cost had I been hiring somebody to do this for me. All right. So you can figure it out. I mean, it's just a matter of material costs, hardware costs. Of course, you need a computer, which you already have. And if I was starting over again, which I might in the future, will start with another 8550 and just dedicate it to sublimation. And as long as this continues working and I can get 12 by 12, that's all I'm really, happy to produce 12 by 12s. And I can do that consistently, then it's going to be $2 per sheet of aluminum. Even $1 for the paper, that's $3. And costs 25 cents to print because I've already, amortized my printer. So at the most $5 to produce one of those. And I'm not counting the cost of my heat press. I've had that for several years already. I couldn't possibly continue deducting that from my taxes. No, it's done. It's already paid for. So yeah, $5, and then you sell it for 75. A beautifully made print like that. You could buy professional hanging hardware. That will increase the cost, but it will make your print look fantastic. Instead of maybe this is a little too, well, I don't have Maybe this is a little too cheesy for you. You know, this might not be professional enough for you, but it is for me because I'm not selling this. I'm hanging it on my stairway. And I already see a smudge. Good Lord. I think they attract smudges. Yep, that's got to be the reason. There we go. Now it's smudge free. So again, if you're using crazy glue and you happen to get some vapors on the surface of this, it will affect it. And you try to remove it with, what removes crazy glue? Acetone. Acetone will remove the sublimation because it dissolves the polyester coating. So that is where the dye is sublimated to. If it removes the coating, off goes the image as well with it. So you got to remember that this is not, bulletproof. But it sure is beautiful. My goodness. And now, with the other version, even better. Boom. Now this is going to receive a coat of spray. It's going to give it a very mild, not a luster look, but a very just imperceptible. Like the little high points on the canvas, they're going to reflect a little bit. And it's just going to look beautiful. And a real, like say, an oil painting made on actual true cloth canvas, like Belgian linen, that has been coated with gesso and then treated with some other coatings as well, depending on whether you're going to use linseed oil based paints or just acrylic. Um, that adds to the look as well. So let's go ahead and continue on before I get lost in my own speech here. So yeah, it's sort of difficult. You need pen and paper and figure out what the costs are depending on what you buy. So like I said, 10 for like say 20, that would be $2 each. Another $1 for materials and ink. That's about it. Oh, a sheet of that paper, whatever that costs. This cost me like this whole roll for like $20. It's got like 50 feet of paper on it, so And again, like I said, you can use this over and over and over until it just gets unsightly to you, and then replace it. Just as long as you don't transfer it to your press. That's why you're using that. Yeah, not the drivers, my friend, the profiles. Yeah. So it's not just the 1100 so-called ICC profile. The Pro 1000 ICC profile was also used in that first demonstration. Hang on. So it wasn't just that. So this is the one with the 1100 profile, but it's using Pro 1000 inks. So all I can do, it makes no sense to me to just compare it to the 1000 profile for that same exact paper. Let's compare it to the 8550, which is what the one I will continue using for this. So if we just look at the sky, let me remove this. We just look at the sky. Really, there's no difference. Yeah, my border is different, but really not much of a difference. The difference is always going to appear in the deep tones because that's what uncoated paper is incapable of producing. And you can see right off the mat the difference. Look at right here. This is a Pro 1000 with Pro 1000 profile. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is Pro 1000 against Pro 1000. Sorry. So this is with the Pro 1000 profile. This is with the 1100 profile. You can see the difference immediately. So if I'm going to be doing this, forget the Pro 1000 profile. I'm going to be using the 1100 profile. Now, let's compare it to the results on the 8550. So 1100 profile, Pro 1000, this one. This is 8550. Look at that. Depend how I orient it to the light. Nearly identical. So we're able to use the Pro 1000 now with the 1100. The 1100 profiles are available on my Facebook group, Files tab. Okay, get them there. They're there for the grab. You have to do a trick to be able to nab them. Okay, or if they're offering them on the Canon site, do download them and use them. Okay, make sure you do that, and you'll be able to buy. In that case, you can buy. Like I said, I'm going to get some 18 by 24. I already have that in Canson watercolor or aquarella paper. 18 by 24, then trim off 1 inch. That will become 17 by 24. You'll be able to print those on the Pro 1000 straight up. Okay. Can you print them on the rear feeder? I don't know if you can print that large on the real feeder or the manual feeder. I'll have to look at that. But I think you can. I think you can. So. Oh, good. Yeah. We'll go ahead and use that name. Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's cost breakdown. There's really nothing exact about it. Depending on the size you choose to print, depending on the source of the aluminum you're buying. In the 3 years ago, 4 years ago, aluminum that you buy, no name aluminum was a little bit thicker. The surface was a little bit pebbly, really not smooth. It was a little thicker base material, but not as good quality as what we get now. Even on all the stuff that I have is no name. I've got some 8x10 and 6x8 that has a glitter type finish, and that seems to be interesting for certain things, not everything. Anyway, so I am really liking this paper, and it's so much easier to utilize. So if you got a Pro 1000, you got an 1100, I would suggest you buy this. Get it from Michael's, get it from Amazon. It's Strathmore canvas paper. It's going to come in odd size pads. And like this stuff it's not super cheap. It's like $12 for 10 sheets only. Okay. So that's one way you can figure that out. $1.20 per sheet. Don't drop it on one corner like I did inside a bag. Okay, because it's very thin. And this is how it comes. And I think, yeah, here it is. 10 sheets, 9 by 12. Let's have a look. What is Amazon asking for this? Because that's really the place to go. Unless you have a Michaels, but then you'll be paying a little bit more, and you got to pay tax. Does anybody sell refilling kits for the Pro 1100 matte black? Well, what do you mean a refilling kit? What do you call a kit? And then I can answer you back. Because there's no chip reset. You do not have to modify the cartridges. There is a way to fill them without any modification. Requires a syringe to push ink in with a special tip, a tip that looks like this, sort of. And you have to buy those from Precision Colors. And then you just push ink in. It creates an internal pressure, positive pressure. You pull back on the syringe, it creates a negative pressure. And the air that's inside the cavity of your cartridge, okay? So you push ink, you get maybe 15 ml in, it creates a positive pressure, you pull back, creates a negative pressure, you push in another 15, and so forth. Once you get 80 in there, you're full. So you start with a 100 ml syringe with 80 ml of ink, okay? And you push as fast, as much as you can push in, pull back, create a vacuum. Don't just pull back. Create a vacuum and then push back in and back and forth. Eventually your 80 will go in and you'll be done. But, you need to buy the ink. So the matte black ink, that is a special ink. Where do you get it from? Well, the only way, like I've said before, there's no way to keep these little prints from sliding around. These are my little mini prints. Buy it like this. So what printers can you buy actual ink that will be the same? The 2600, the 4600, the 6600. So you buy that ink, it'll be the same formulation. And if you just want to buy just one cartridge, this will set you back at retail price $300. Okay. Now you could find them for less on eBay. People who, for whatever the reason, are selling them, they have to be OEM. Don't fall for anything else. And extract the ink from that. Let me show you what I did here. So these are the ones that I modified. You see the plugs? And I get a bottle. I showed you the bottle the other day, and you just literally with a funnel take this plug, take that plug, and just empty it out into that bottle. The bottle has to be larger capacity than this. This is 700. Plug it and plug it. This cartridge has a chip that has never been used. Where is that sucker? In there somewhere. Where's the chip on this? Right here. So it has a chip that has never been used. You can sell this. Like, this is what I told Matt McNamara. He's got Mike's empties because he used to buy OEMing for the Pro 1000 in this format and empty it out and then sell the lots of 82 ml to customers. So he had lots of these empty ones. Drill them, plug them, and sell them as refillable cartridges. It'll take you, half a year to a year to empty this, and then you just disable the chip and refill it. Keep track of your time. Take it out. I know how much this weighs when it's empty now, and I know what a full one weighs. So I just weigh them periodically and see if I need to top them off. The difference between the current weight and the full weight is the amount of ml you add to top off one of these cartridges whose chip you already replaced. So my friend Davis, Harold, you see that? Okay, that's all you need, and this is a working, perfectly refillable cartridge. That's the best quality you will ever get. Why? Because it's OEM. Okay, so you don't have to worry about buying some remanufactured copy of that. That's not the way to go. And I've told Matt that he needs to sell those. He needs to sell those to people. He has not gotten back to me about that though. So, but yeah, I really highly recommend he does that. Okay, so this came out good. This is amazing the way that was transformed from a rather, it was pretty, but not really. It didn't have that intensity. Let me go ahead and turn this baby off. Good job. Good job, heat press. So I think we did well today. Not too many goof offs. And again, using the thick paper mode. I don't know if I want to print this. I know you guys get horrified when I do this, but I never save something that is second quality. It always goes out. And this is full of paper right now. And I have another little bag with the metal, the little pieces of metal. And I got to get this upstairs, but it won't get picked up until Tuesday. But I'll put a new bag in here. And we'll be good to go. So I am going to work a little bit more on the Pro-1000 and this paper. I really now I'm interested into printing large prints. Now the problem with these AI generated prints is that they are never going to be the resolution of, say, a 40 something megapixel camera. No, it's just not going to have that kind of resolving power. So printing something that large will be sort of like a pipe dream. So, but yeah, I'm going to try it anyway. Come on. But the fact that it seems to be producing with the 1100 profile very, very similar results as the 8550 using the trick. Good Lord. I need to smash this even more. Come on. I think I waited a little bit too long. So, you guys have any ideas for future discussions? I mean, I spent almost a week testing the Pro-1000, figuring out what Pete wanted to find out. That is really helpful. To find out what you guys are interested in. Keeps my mind going and constantly thinking. I mean, you know, I'm open to anything. As long as it doesn't cost me $1,000 or something that I have to buy a new printer. But ideas, things to do, things that are, hey, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Do you think this will work? Da 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 da, like that. That's what I would love to hear about. And refilling ink. So yeah, so refilling ink, if you want an OEM, that's the only way to get it, buying a large cartridge such as that. And then fill by fill. If you disable your chips, you're going to be, possibly installing the sensor system. You're just going to add 60 ml every time you have to refill. So from a $700 cartridge, $700 ml cartridge, that's quite a number of refills. So you only need 60. So it's a little bit less than maybe like 12 refills, which is not too bad. Other than that, you're going to be buying some third-party ink. And the problem is that ink is one of the special inks, the matte black, that has the high level of density. No, you cannot use any Canon printer for sublimation, only Epson or any other cold firing printhead printer. Not Canons and HP and Brother and everything other than Epson, or what's the other? Well, Epson kind of owns it. They use a cold firing printhead. The Canons, they use thermal printheads, and the inks don't work very well. They'll ruin the printheads pretty much immediately. In fact, any kind of specialized ink type printing, like solvent, like vinyl, for direct to garment. Now it's direct to film, and then you take that film, so you don't have to worry too much about ink. But the early versions, yeah, only Epson. Color rendering. What about color rendering? You color rendering in what regards? What do you mean by that? The types of what? The types of inks, the types of printers, the types of media, what? The explanation of for explanation the negatives of relative colorimetric. Do you mean rendering intents? Color rendering, yeah. Is that what you mean? So let me just say Qimage defaults to one rendering intent, and that is, and let me open up. I just want to show you. I'm going to open a Qimage. I'm going to set up a quickie job, and I'll show you what I am talking about. Relative colorimetric. Okay, so let's just drop that in there, and then when you go to your printing, okay, you're about to set your printing settings, your color management settings. You see that relative colorimetric default for most accurate for in gamut colors, and perceptual is it's scales. I don't know what you mean. Scales to accumulate out of gamut colors. So here's what happens. So think of it. If I have an image of a little baby, and that little baby has rosy skin, I don't care what race the baby is, he has a very, very pastel skin. Not like that red flower I showed you that I turned yellow. That's different. That yellow, that flower is completely out of gamut. No printer that I know can reproduce the way it looks on my screen. So that baby skin, here's your gamut circle or bubble. That baby skin is inside that. So it's in gamut. The printer can produce this. Anything else that's outside of this, it cannot reproduce. Okay. Relative colorimetric, think of it as, let's just do one single plane. You have a theater. It happens to have a central stage and rows, circular rows of seats. Each seat has a color from the center to the outside. So the least saturated colors are in the very center area, right around the stage. And they get more and more and more and more saturated. And that whole ring goes from magenta, red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, and so forth. So blue and violet, and whatever. And so it's those concentric rings. They represent the whole spectrum. Okay. Further out you go, the more saturated they become, more intense. If they are outside the theater, in other words, like I go to one of those indoor stadiums and there's an outer walkway outside, that's outside. So if a color is outside, it's out of gamut. And if that color wants to be printed, it has to change its look. It has to become a less saturated color to be able to be brought inside. Okay? So relative colorimetric, if any of the colors in your image are in gamut, they stay put. They are not shifted. None of the people that are attending that concert, the rock concert, have to get up and move. They each have a color card. And this is my seat. So I am red, whatever. I sit in this seat. I cannot sit on some other seat. Otherwise, I become some other color. See, so relative does not allow any of the people who are in gamut to get up and change seats, any of the colors to be shifted, just to allow other colors to come in. No, it cannot. So what it does, anything that was on the outside, it just stays there. Now, the other one, I need to make sure that I got the name correctly. Perceptual, right? Perceptual is different. Perceptual says, okay, no. We're just going to let everybody sit. And sorry, you guys there, you need to get up and move to make room for the ones on the outside. The outer rows, which are the most saturated colors, they have to get up and sit wherever they can to allow outside out of gamut colors to come in. Well, what that does is shift the whole color components of your image just to make others fit. You get the idea. So it's literally making you move to allow someone else to sit where you may have been sitting correctly to begin with. No, now you became something else. Now you have to be moved. And when it comes to portraiture of babies, do you want a skin of a baby to be shifted to allow something red, a red carpet that's in the background of that shot? No, of course not. I could care less about the red carpet. I want the baby to be correctly rendered. What if I'm doing some commercial photography? And those colors, remember the color of the Kodak emblem? That was copyrighted. No, that was a specific color. You want to shift that and give Kodak or whoever it is today the wrong color just because you were trying to get, you see what I mean? No, you cannot. So that's why Qimage is defaulted to relative colorimetric. We don't care about the outer gamut colors. Too bad. Adjust your image. It's what you got to do if you have outer gamut colors. Yes. Make everything in gamut to begin with, and then everything will fit in relative colorimetric. The most accurate for in gamut colors. That's all that means. Okay. Yeah, we now know that if you have a photo with lots of shadowy details, it is not as good. Shadows get crunched. Yeah, but that's different. That is this. That's your gamma curve. Gamma curves are not like this. They're not linear. They're S curve. So the first 10 or 12 steps, look at my trajectory. No change. And now it moves up. Now it becomes semi-straight and highlights. Plateau. No change for the last 10 or highlights. Okay, that's the way it is. There are some adjustments you can make. That's why there's curve adjustments in editing applications. So you can take those first 12 dark tones from black to level 12, maybe do this to it so that they are more separated. Black point compensation does that. So use black point compensation. Qimage is set for black point compensation and relative colorimetric. When I do a standard image, gosh, let me find one. Where are my images? I don't think I have one here. Here we go. Here's an interesting little test that I did. Perceptual, relative. And it depends on the media and it depends on the image. If the image, all the colors are in gamut, there's no difference between using either relative or perceptual. The results will be the same. So, you see any difference? One is perceptual and one is relative. My colors were in gamut. Okay, now let me show you what you're looking for. You're talking about shadows getting crunched? Black. No, actually, that's 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So the way to see this is to backlight it. So you're going to have to trust me on this. I can see number 2. And surrounding it is black. I can see number 2. I can see number 4. I can see number 6. I can clearly see that. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, I can see it clearly. This is perfect. You cannot get more perfect than that. If you can see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and they're getting lighter and lighter and lighter right here, you did it. Okay. And the little squares are surrounded by black margin or black background. So you can see that number 2 on top of the black background, you can see a little bit lighter. You can't see it by reflective light. That's maybe what you're complaining about, but you can. But look at my. You see that? You can see them there by reflective light. There, you can see almost right there. You can see 2 and 4. Okay. This is on the Pro 1000. So I was able to achieve, this is semi-gloss, pro semi-gloss. Perfect. That's about as good as you can get on that standard image. And that's what I use that standard image for. And make sure, if I had turned off black point compensation, then maybe the first 6 or 8 would just be background black. And then maybe 10, you'll be able to see it. Would you do that on purpose? I don't know. If you want to just block off some shadows in a shot of some woods in black and white, and you just want, scary, dark, almost black shadows, then do that. But not if you want to, that shot of that girl, the model. Why would I do that to her? I want every bit of detail. Make it look creamy. Okay. But yeah. So again, it's up to you. They leave that open for you to, let me see what the standard image, this is with perceptual. Okay. Yeah, I still see it because you know what? I had black point compensation turned on. So I got, and the same thing with the white. Oh, here we go. Let me see. Let me turn this off. This is good. Okay, look at the, remember, I'm using Chrome Optimizer, but I'm using auto, not overall, automatic only. So it's going only where there's ink. Now, I want you to look here at the reflections. Okay, so this is 250, 243, 44, 45, all the way to 254. That is one step from just the plain border, no ink. And you could see that there's Chrome Optimizer applied all the way to 254. I hit it out of the ballpark with this and the Pro-1000. So and this is going to make you think. That means I got black and 2 above black all the way across. And I got 254, which is just 2 from no ink, just paper. So what does that mean? I did what Ansel Adams always tried to do, the widest dynamic range possible. And I did it on non-edited, which is the way you use that standard image control image on soft, what is it? Gloss, semi-gloss? Yeah. There's no way I can get better than that. Nothing. So when you say that your 1100 can do better, what is it going to do to that standard images look? Make the shadows denser? Aren't you blocking them when you do that? This is why I have this issue with the 1100 claims. When the Pro-1000, see, if the Pro-1000 was creating not a pure black, then I would see, like, the first few steps, a super dark gray, but not quite black. And then you show me the 1100, and yeah, it looks denser, of course. But what does that mean? Did you just block? In order to make something denser, did you just pour black ink on it instead of dots of ink? You see, of course they didn't pour black ink, but you see what I mean? So what did they do to that curve? Is it straight, or is it still an S curve with less of a curve at the bottom, less of a plateau, more separation? Okay, that's what I was able to achieve there. Maximum separation from black all the way to white. How can I improve that? Tell me here, how the hell can I improve that? I could make it look improved. by just emphasizing certain things. And that's not natural. You're now not reproducing what the image had. The values that the image had in those two extreme regions, now they're not being reproduced. What's the word? Accurately, technically accurate. In other words, the actual values are not something representative of higher contrast in those dark areas to make you look like there's more pop. That's what this is doing, okay, with the dual black thing on that special paper that is not meant for inkjet printing. It needs a boost. I would not do it on regular photo paper unless I'm using velvet fine art paper. See what I mean? So the emphasis, the enhancement that it throws onto your finished images, it might look good to your eyes, but it's not natural. It's not accurate. So that's why I will never get an 1100. I really don't have a need for it. I can mess around with its profiles, and I'm using PC's matte black ink anyway, and that's actually very good. So it's actually better than the Pro-1000 ink, the OEM ink. So anyway, okay, that's going to be it. Let me see. Yeah, because it forces everything in. Yeah. But again, just make sure that you use black point compensation. It'll take care of that. There's no need. Everybody can see me. Okay. All right. So I think we're back. Yeah, Keith Cooper's always discussing things. He's good, but there's sometimes that I disagree with him. But he's awesome. He is awesome. I've been following him for a couple decades, literally over 2 decades. He's the guy that got me going when I didn't know which way to go. Okie doke. So that's going to be it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed today. I was able to actually do things correctly this time for a change. Yeah. If you have an account with Adobe, make sure you check out Adobe's Photoshop beta. That way you can get in there and try that new AI mode other than the Gemini, and experiment, create things and print beautiful things like I just did. And I didn't have to go outside the house with a camera at all. Alrighty, so that's going to be it. Thank you again so very much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like the videos in in YouTube, not my Facebook group. You can do that there as well, but please make sure you hit the like button in the actual YouTube while you're watching a video. That's what they want to see. So thank you again. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody. And now I got to share this and boom, turn it up.